Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the WIT podcast. Wherever this finds you, whether you're on YouTube or listening to it as you're working on your business or going for a walk, we're just glad that you're making the time to join us and hang out with us today. This is my first interview with three people at the same time. So why not? Let's try something a little bit different, but all from the same company. And if you've been listening, you know that I open up with rapid fire questions. And so this will be kind of interesting to see how they do the rapid fire questions. They don't know the questions ahead of time, although if you listen to the podcast, you might have a sense, but I don't even know which questions I'm going to ask and in what order when I do it. I just kind of get started because it's a much more interesting way than how are you and where are you from? Okay, so here's the deal. You three need to decide. You'll just have to figure out who answers the questions, or maybe you'll answer them all at the same time. Okay. Favorite color?
Green.
Blue, white.
Favorite snack?
Goldfish? Oh, I'm gonna say that. Maybe fruit.
Yeah, same fruit.
Fruit and goldfish. It's a good combination. Go-to song when you need to get inspired. You're kind of in maybe a slump. You can each answer.
Taylor Swift.
I was gonna say that.
Not a specific song, but
Old Taylor Swift or Eye of the Tiger?
or like old Bruno
Oh, that's
Mars
good.
songs.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Okay. How old were you when you started the business? I know you all are working on the same business, so it's going to be different ages.
10, 11.
Yeah, same. Yeah, so I think I was 11 or 12.
Okay. And where do you live?
New Hampshire.
Okay, that's all going to hopefully be the same. I mean, I think they're all living in the same place. Okay. And what about what you're binge watching right now?
New
Nothing.
Girl.
I'm not watching anything right now. I'm trying to find something new.
Same.
Okay, but New Girl, did I hear New Girl? Okay. All right. And now each of you, what are you grateful for right now?
Friends and family. You want to go?
I think just like the community that we've built, I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, I would think friends and family too. And like friends on like sports teams and being able to like play sports.
Yes, that's probably because of being in COVID, right? I mean, because of COVID, being in quarantine, not playing. I can't even imagine. I'm obviously an adult. And so I was still able to go do a lot of the things, meaning that I can go for a run, I can go do certain things, and the rules, I mean, yes, rules apply to me, but it's a little bit different than what's happening with kids and with students and teens and your sports leagues and also your school structure and all of that. So a lot of empathy for what teens have gone through over this last year. And although this is not the topic of the podcast, adults could have definitely done better in a lot of situations that involved youth during COVID. That's a whole other podcast for another time. The education system didn't exactly do, I think, a stellar job making sure everybody was taken care of. And if you're listening, they are nodding their heads. So I think I'm onto something because they're in agreement on that. Okay, but that's not what we're talking about today. We are talking about their company. So because we're going to have people watching, why don't you go and just introduce yourself because they'll know who you are.
All right, so I'm Kayla and I'm 15.
I'm Keegan and I'm 13.
I'm Ashley and I'm 13.
Okay. Sisters?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell us the name of the company.
Kid Everest.
Okay. I did my research, went online, read the website, started as a school project, but I'm not quite sure whose class it was.
So we were actually all in the same class. It was like 5th and 6th grade together. And our like project was to come up with an idea that could help change the world in some way. And we were very like entrepreneurial, like kids, like reselling fidget spinners out of our lockers or making slime and selling them, whatever it was. And we realized that our parents or family were always having to like fund us some money to get it started or buy the product or whatever it was. And so we thought of this idea, like if we create this platform, we can help so many kids and also get their idea out there. Like not just get the fundings, but they also have a place where they can share and their ideas and like meet new people, get feedback, or ask questions to other people that are more knowledgeable about what they're starting, things like that. So, and our teacher actually told us like, oh, it's too big, like don't do it. So of course it made us want to do it even more.
Total good. I'm
So
glad that, yeah, because sometimes it has the opposite effect.
yeah, so it's a good thing we did start it because it has been doing so well and we've helped so many kids already. And like after he said that, we went home and we worked on it every day after school. And we launched about a year ago, last March, when COVID hit, I guess 2 Marches ago. And yeah, we're doing really well.
Okay, so one of you tell me about what you do. So if somebody doesn't know what you do, what's your 2 to 3 sentence pitch on it?
So we are a crowdfunding platform that is safe for kids. That's mainly our biggest thing, is that we're 100% friendly and kid safe listed and COPA compliant and things like that. Just so we make sure we're making the safest community for these kids, so they're not going to feel like turned down ever feel like they have just like a stupid idea, because we think that every idea is something that could turn into something.
So what makes you different than if I were just to go create a GoFundMe for my idea?
Well, GoFundMe is more of like just a donation. Ours, well, it is a donation, but it's kind of like an investment. Like you get to see where their business is going and you can follow up with them. And it's, I don't know, the like GoFundMe is kind of more, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's a little bit different. Like ours is for businesses and you can see their idea grow into a real like thing.
Yeah, I feel like on GoFundMe or any other platform that's out there currently, it's more like charitable, where we're more business aspects. So that's kind of what makes us different. But we're kind of like Kickstarter, but just for kids.
Yeah, I was thinking it does have a Kickstarter vibe to it, because in Kickstarter you can track the company, you're invested in it, you want to see how it goes. And so I'm wondering, I think it's just important for the listener to know, I mean, why they would pick you over going to launching a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, so that's actually another thing that makes us different. We're the only kid platform out there. So actually, I think in like, I don't even know, 3rd grade, I tried getting on Kickstarter. And after like hours on the computer, I was like, I just found out that I couldn't go on there because I was under 18. And
Got
that's
it.
another way that kind of kickstarted this idea, because there was no outlet for kid entrepreneurs like us.
Also, their like website is hard to like navigate for young kids if you are trying to do it. And ours is like more simple and based towards kids.
Okay. And what makes it kid friendly? Can you tell us a little bit like when you're saying it's kid friendly, it's kid compliant, and let's just say a teen is listening, or a young entrepreneur is listening to this and their parent is in the car and the parents, okay, what exactly makes it kid friendly? And why is my kid going to use that platform? What is it on your what does that mean?
So kid friendly to us just basically means kids safe. So I'm sure our mom wouldn't want us like giving out information and like getting money from like a sketchy website. So we did everything in our power to make it as safe and sound and secure as we could. So we are COPA compliant and kid safe listed. We don't touch any of the money aspect. Everything goes through Stripe. Yep. Everything goes through Stripe. So there's no secondhand information that will touch or anyone else besides that Stripe. So that's mainly, but then also having like a safe community where kids can express their ideas and not be like turned down again. I just think it's very important that kids have like a safe environment that they can feel like secure in what they're talking about.
Do they connect with each other on your platform? I mean, do the people that are, is there a way that when you say community, are you meaning like the kids that are, whose businesses are featured on your website, can they connect with each other? Or do you mean that they can create something and be featured on your website, which is what you're describing as community?
So like our community is basically a lot through, we get a lot of like kids and we meet a lot of new people through social media, mainly like Instagram. And so a lot of the kids that we have on our platform, we have found, or they have found us on Instagram. And so a lot of them kind of communicate like after they see each other on our platform go and like DM each other. And we've seen a lot of them like have podcasts like this where they interview each other or where they like help each other in some way.
Yeah, we also try to bring people together, I think. Like if you have the same idea or you're working on the same project, we could say, oh, this person's doing something similar that you are. You guys should talk to each other and try to collaborate something just to try and help them get even more exposure from other kids or talking to someone else who has the same drive, ambition, and passions as them.
It's interesting how many people teen entrepreneurs that I've interviewed that have created their business during COVID. And I'm just, the teacher gave you that assignment, but were you still in in-person school when you got the assignment and then COVID quarantine happened and you kept working on it?
Yeah, we had more time to do it during quarantine because we didn't have sports. We had like less school to do. So we just had more time on our hands, so it was easier to like get it started and keep working on it.
I know a lot of teens are saying that, and then things are opening back up and they're wondering how they're going to balance it with sports practices and things like that because they had that time. I always think it's just wonderful that there's so many teen entrepreneurs that took that extra time and did something so productive and purposeful. As we always chat about on the podcast, things don't start always so smoothly. There's usually setbacks in the beginning. Can you share some of the setbacks that you experienced and how you got through it? It's really inspiring to others.
So getting KidSafe listed and COPA compliant was very hard. Like we had to go through lots of lawyers, talk to so many different people. And so that was a huge like process that took a lot of time, and like our mom had to help us with a lot of it because we were under 18, so it was kind of hard to like reach out to people. And that was another huge setback, was being so young that not a lot of adults took it seriously. So like a lot of the people we talked to were like, oh, it's a great idea, but come back when you're older and you're more serious about it. So we did get shut down a lot by adults, which was kind of hard to like keep it going because we needed the help to get started. But we've had so many other nice people like you and a bunch of others that have interviewed us and like shared what we do and like got the word out there and have helped us, or who have mentored us in some way, which was really helpful for us as kids to see that like our platform is useful and other adults like it and will invest in the kids on our platform.
Is that what you're going to adults? So when you say adults were turning you down, in what ways what were you asking for that you got rejected for?
So I remember this one specific case. It was very much towards the very beginning of our business. We got invited out to this big corporation and they wanted to talk to us about our business and how they could help us. And I think it was actually a pitch competition or something of that sort. And anyways, so when they emailed us, they didn't know how old we were. They just knew our business. They didn't really look that far into it. So when we showed up that day, they were like, oh, is it your parents? And they were like talking to our mom, but she brought us obviously. And they thought like she was the one who did it. And they were so surprised that we were kids. And I don't remember what they really said to us, but they definitely turned us down for our age. And I think the funny thing about this story is that that was at the very beginning where we first launched. And I think they actually recently got back out to us after seeing what we were capable of.
That's always good. It's always nice when those that reject you come back and you're like, oh, interesting little role reversal here. That's definitely happened to me in my career. And I'd like to say I'm so evolved that I don't have a moment that I kind of just smile, but no, I do. I have a little like moment of satisfaction where I'm like, see, I told you that it was worth it, but you just didn't listen back then, And so those kind of moments are kind of sweet. So are people investing in your company? Are you asking people to invest, or how are you getting support?
So what I meant by like invest is like donate to the campaigns on our website, or like a lot of adults have just like mentored us in the beginning to like help us with any questions we had about business, because as kids, like we didn't have any business classes. Like we had to learn about all of it, either through like our parents or like just researching online. Yeah.
And so how do you make money off of it? If someone's wondering, like, how are they, they say it's a business. So how are you making money?
So we actually take a very small percentage
Mhm.
of the donations from those campaigns. And we also get money from like selling our like merchandise or pitch competitions that we enter in and things like that.
Yeah, that's another thing that sets us apart is we take the lowest percentage of any crowdfunding platform that's out there.
What's the percentage?
I believe it's 4.9%.
Okay. So probably, so almost 5% of the donations of a donation you'll take to cover your own costs and do that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I know it probably depends too on like whether it's like Kickstarter or Classy or, I don't have those numbers in front of me, so I'm not going to say that that's true or not, but you know better than I do. But I also think that sometimes you can, for those of you that are listening, maybe this is the lowest one that's out there, but also let's say you go, oh, we looked and it wasn't. Sometimes you're able, when you're offering something that nobody else is offering, you can also adjust that because to my knowledge, there isn't another platform that lets you join and start raising money if you're under 18. Again, I haven't done my research on all of that space, but I just done my research on this company and I really liked what they were doing and felt like they were onto something here. And I support anything where people are trying to just amplify young businesses or teen businesses because I just don't think there's enough of that happening. Have you all ever invested or donated to any of the campaigns that have been put up there? Have you been inspired to put your own money into somebody's campaign?
I don't think
We have.
I don't.
We've
which
put.
one?
I forget what we did, but we like gave other companies like some money for like when they like first started.
Yeah, we also had this like we were like partners in this weird like pitch competition sort of thing. So it was like whoever joined or whoever participated in that contest, you didn't have to win, just if you were in it, then we would give you, I think it was like $10 to start, and it was like a match campaign, like up to $20, I think. So
Okay.
anyone who joined or anyone who created a campaign on our website from that pitch contest, we matched up to $20 of what they got.
That's nice. I mean, I always say, at WIT, we do a lot of Amazon gift card giveaways or cash giveaways because I say, every entrepreneur I know would like money either for their business or their own self-care. So no one's going to be like, oh, it's only $20. $20 can add up pretty fast. I mean, some of our teens, I'm like, at WIT, they've made so much money just being in WIT because they win all the giveaways where they take advantage of all these different types of money-making opportunities. And I think it's great because people really need it, especially our young entrepreneurs. They need ways to make money and to make their businesses happen. So what are your immediate goals? You're not quite, are you a year old yet? You're almost celebrating a year.
We're a little bit over a year.
Okay. And when I was on your website, I saw like logos up there, like Inc. and Gary V. Can you tell us about what happened with Inc. and what happened with Gary V?
Yeah, so we were interviewed for Inc. magazine, which was a very like cool, interesting process to go through. Because we would have like, I think it was actually a phone call, not a meeting, but they would interview us and ask us questions and we would answer. And it was really cool to like be in a magazine, and it was a really like big step for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Gary V, we actually like sent him a video question. I don't know if you've seen those on his like Instagram and things where he will answer them. And I think our question was, how do we
be taken seriously?
Yeah, how do we
amongst
be
adults and like an adult, not an adult world, but an adult
run
space, maybe like
an
a
adult nominated space.
Yeah.
And what did he say?
He said, well, you can't always be taken seriously, but you can't listen to them if they bring you down. You just have to keep pushing through it and it will get there and things like that.
That sounds very Gary V. Yeah, I was on his he did like a tea with Gary V. think it was during quarantine, and we had a Twitter exchange, gosh, years ago, and he had said we got to meet, we got to chat Sunday, and I was like, yeah, I'll hit you up. And then one day, I mean, it was crazy. I was just sitting in my house and I was like, oh yeah, remember when Gary Vee said we should chat? I'd like to chat with him now. Like I have some questions. I've got some things I want to chat about business during COVID. So I went back to that tweet and I retweeted it. And I was like, like at Gary Vee, it would now be a good time. I don't know. If I was like, would now be a good time to chat or something? He wrote back, and I mean, maybe 10 minutes. And he was like, yeah, let's get you on tea with Gary Vee. And so then I was on tea with Gary Vee the next morning, and we just like chatted about things. And it was great. Cause when I started my business over 10 years ago, I was listening to him, was very motivated by him, and much of my like no excuses vibe, that was influenced. I mean, I was always like that, but doubled down on it. I think when I was listening to him, like, if you like, don't whine, just get it done. And if you care about it enough, you'll work on it. So that we both have we all have a little Gary Vee story. We'll tag him in this. Maybe he'll listen to it and give it some love. So what are some other goals? Are you like, when you're looking ahead for the next year or the next 6 months? I mean, you've done a lot in a year. Where do you want to go?
Well, I think our biggest goal is just to continue growing, continue helping as many kids as possible. I know that that's I think all of our personal goals is just to help as many kids as possible. It's very rewarding seeing like the kids from where they started and where we can get them. It's very like heartwarming feeling.
Okay, so you're about the kids. Maybe all the sisters are, but that's your first reaction, is like, we want to just help as many as possible. Are there any other goals that you have, maybe that have to do financial or with social media or press or anything?
I would agree with Kayla, and I would also say to become like a more well-known name, like a household name, and to have more people like know about us and like reach out to more people.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely get more like well known, definitely get more like followers and things like that. And we are really all about the kids. Like, it's not really about us like making money and becoming a huge business. It's really just about being there for kids, because we know what it's like to be kids and start up a business, and we know how hard it is. And before actually having this business, I think none of us really knew how many kids there were out there that were trying to start up a business, but like we didn't really get it anywhere. And so it is just really nice to see like that we helped all these kids, and now they're like a big business, or now they're starting up their own business, or like doing their thing.
Do you have people ask me this, that would like, tell us a success story. And I always am like, well, define what success means to you, because I see success can be so many different things depending on what you're looking at. But do you have a situation, a kid, a business that you supported that you think, wow, like, I'm just so proud that we worked with that company or what they're doing, and it feels like a success to you?
So we've definitely had a lot of success stories, and like it's good to see all of the kids like make it through the whole process and know that they've been working so hard for that moment where they reached their goal and how much money they were asking for. And there was this one girl, Mallory, or no, Rainbow. Well, there was both, but I was going to talk about Rainbow. This girl, she was creating this book about how she got through like quarantine and how she was dealing with it, and now it's a published book, and we have it somewhere in here. But
Find it. We'd love to give her some love, or to shout if you have it around, if anyone wants to go grab it. I always think it's cool to use platforms and spaces to shout other people out too, because it's always a fun surprise when they're like, oh my gosh, you mentioned me in the podcast. That's so sweet.
Yeah, I think she might have been like the fastest like raised like money.
Yeah, I think it was like
she was fully funded, in 2 days, actually overfunded. And
that's great.
I think it was like 130% on this. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think you can open it right now.
Okay. Okay. They're having some different type of tech issues trying to find this. Okay. Well, we'll figure out, maybe we can edit. We don't edit the YouTube, we do video because we just want to get it out there and up there. But we can maybe add something in the comments, or all of you can go back in and add something in the comments and tag her if you've mentioned, since you've mentioned her. So that felt really good, right? Because you overfunded, and then you got to see the final
Yeah.
completion of that. So a lot of the people that I've interviewed, well, all the people that I've interviewed up until this point have been a single founder, and you are 3 co-founders. Some people think, oh, it's so much easier when you have co-founders. I'm a single founder. I'm fine being my own founder. I don't have an issue. I'm good not working with a co-founder. But not only are you co-founders, you're sisters. So there's some dynamics there. So talk to us about how you all work together. Do you separate the tasks? Walk us through how this company works and the staff works.
So I definitely think that we work together on most of the things, just so we know, like, we're all on the same basis and we're all on the same page of what we're doing. But we definitely have specific skills that each of us like sort of take pride in or are better at than others. So I think we work pretty well together. Each having our own individual skills, it makes it easier to get tasks done faster. And then when we're working together, it's like we get things done 3 times as fast.
So what's everyone's skill set? What do you each tell us what each one of you does?
So I really like the social media aspect of it all. Like, I like to post things and like reach out to kids or adults, or whatever we're reaching out for.
Oh, I like working on the stuff that goes on like the website and making sure it all looks good, and like the blog posts and stuff.
Okay.
I like being sort of like in control of like when the meetings are and knowing what we're doing and where we're doing it like that. Is just having that control is sort of nice.
It's good. I think it's good that you've done something that a lot of people struggle to do, is kind of finding your lane. But once everybody finds their lane, then there's a higher sense of success and things running smoothly, because you're not stepping into each other's spaces, or you can't have that person just being like, well, okay, I would do it differently. I would do it differently. You got to start trusting each other that you can handle it. So I'm thinking, well, who reached out to me on Instagram? Because I feel like this is how we got here, was that somebody reached out to me on Instagram. I wouldn't know it.
I think it was me.
It was you. Okay, well, good. I mean, now you're here. So that's always a good move, is to at least try it out and put yourself in the, I always say, like, shoot your shot, like apply. The worst thing that you can hear is no, but I don't really hear no. I hear more like not yet. And there's a great expression that a delay is not a denial. So just because it's not happening right now doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Now things are shifting a bit, because like you said, you had more time during quarantine, and now are you remind me again where you are, location?
New Hampshire.
Okay. Are you pretty much open? I mean, you're going back to school and
Yeah.
you're in sports. So how are you navigating the new schedule with your business?
Yeah, so I think we're definitely busy people. We're all very into sports and obviously into school. I think you guys are back full time, right?
Yeah.
We go to 2 different schools, so and their schedules are both totally different, so it's hard to keep track of. But we're both back full time right now, but you have to wear masks and things like that. But yeah, all sports are open back up, so we're definitely doing a lot.
And how are you doing it? I mean, are you adjusting? Are you slowing down the business? Are you working more on the weekends? What does that look like?
Yeah, so we work a lot of it. Like, we don't have sports like every day after school. Like, today we didn't have anything, so we've actually already had another meeting earlier. Like, we plan a lot of it like on the days we don't have anything, or we'll work on it when we get home from school, and definitely a lot on the weekends and whenever we have free time.
I think that's so important for the listener or the watcher to hear, because as somebody who gets asked, by people, oh, I'm thinking about starting a business, what should I do? Or there's so much, how can I launch a business when I have so much else going on? And I always say, if you care about the business, you make the time, you create time for what you care about. And if you care about watching shows, you're going to watch the shows. If you care about working on your business, you're going to work on your business. Everybody has the exact same amount of time during the day. And so many hours during the day, and we all get to choose how we want to spend them. And so it sounds like you all have found something that you really care about. So it makes showing up for it I don't want to say like easy because there's obviously hard work, but it's probably easy to prioritize is what I'm getting from you.
Yeah, it's definitely helpful to be passionate about your business and want to work on it, because then you do want to work on it, even if you only have 10 minutes. If you're not so passionate, then you're like, oh, like whatever, I'll do it later.
Yeah, I think that's also what helps us being co-founders and all three of us. So like, if one of us is not really feeling good that day, or just not really feeling it after having sports or a long day at school or something, then you always have two others that could go focus and work on it. Or each of us could like have different things to work on. And if they ever needed help, then you can rely on the other two to help.
That is true. Cause I don't really have that experience. I can't really go to my dog and say like, will you handle the emails today? Like, obviously I have a team at WIT, but when it comes to other things, it's not the same when you have joint co-founder or you have co-founders. I could see that being helpful you can share the load. Okay. Something else that we always chat about on the podcast is and I don't know if this has happened to you again, because I don't talk to guests before they come on here. Some guests I do know because they've been in WIT or I've written about them in different articles. But for the most part, the people that come on the podcast, I've never met before or chatted with before. So there's no like questions that are teed up to ask or anything like that. So something that we do chat about in the podcast is dealing with pushback or haters as you are launching a business. I've obviously dealt with it recently publicly. And I think I heard from one of you from that, which was somebody sent me some kind words, which I really appreciated. So I would say I'm almost to the point where I'm going to say it's inevitable. Like when you're putting yourself out there that people will have pushback. That said, sometimes people are so early in their journey and they haven't had it yet, but I'm wondering if you've had to navigate that during this year of running your business.
Yeah, I think definitely we've seen both sides of what people will have to say. Like in school or something, there's definitely people, like my friends are very supportive and they'll be very kind about like what we're doing and will help support us any way they can. Because honestly, if you have friends that are gonna like bring you down or not support you, then they're probably not really friends.
Totally.
But I think our mainly support is mainly positive, and if it's not, then we're not going to take it too seriously. We're just going to keep doing our thing.
Have you experienced that where someone's left a comment or people have said something negative?
I don't think we really have. Yeah, like obviously, like we've been like shut down by like a few adults and things, but like not a lot of like real hate, I guess. So that's been good so far. Yeah, so we've had a lot of positive comments and people.
That's good. It's interesting. Sometimes what we hear is that there's almost, it doesn't necessarily come on, because I don't have this issue. You all are still in school. So that it's more of in the school setting, there are people that are kind of not as supportive. Obviously not your friends are supportive, but other people are not as supportive. And this has happened to a couple of teens that I've worked with, and even recently, where they had this great successful moment. And then they found out that people were kind of just like shooting it down behind the scenes. And it was just like, God, I mean, it's so insane that people do that. And I'll tell you, I've only really seen it with girls doing it to girls or women doing it to women. And that's what I always tell you is like, that's always the thing that hits me and makes it like the saddest, is because women will never be able to rule the world if they can't even support one another. And if the immediate thing that they do, and when they find out that another woman or a young girl has been successful, is to shoot them down, really, which comes just from jealousy, whether they know it or not. You only shoot things down so there's something inside of you that feels like what that person's experiencing isn't possible for you. And so that makes you feel, maybe you feel sad, and instead of expressing that you feel sad or jealous or whatever, it goes into like just tearing that person down. And I've never really seen it from boys to boys, like in our young men to young men in our program. And I've only had young girls come to me, and not within our WIT program, but say that that's what they've experienced from girls outside of the program WIT, and that they've gotten that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think unfortunately, that's definitely the case most of the time. I feel like if we were ever to experience it like firsthand, like in person, someone doing that, I feel like we would definitely take that to heart. Like it's definitely just something inside of them that's jealous.
It's always, it's like I say, hurt people. And to those listening and watching, it's tough because I've been around longer, probably than most of the listeners. Well, I'm going to assume most of the people listening to this. And it doesn't, it doesn't stop when you get older. I think when I was younger, I thought, oh, eventually I'm going to be an adult and I'll be around adults. And there was like this assumption that that meant that everybody just behaved well and just did the right thing or respectful. Not true. Absolutely not true. Adulthood is like high school, but at least you don't have to go to the same campus every day, like with them. Like you just, but they're like the behaviors still exist just in people that have been on the planet longer. Uh, but it is kind of unfortunate that that stuff um, doesn't stop, but it shouldn't discourage you from starting your business or from putting your ideas out there. And I think I think it's really important to surround yourself with the right people, quality over quantity when it comes to friends. But what do you all think? Do you agree with that, or what have you found?
Yeah,
most
definitely.
Do you feel the pressure on social media to get more followers for your company, or do you feel like do you get caught up in any kind of comparison game?
I don't know. I kind of feel like it's more of like an expectation. Like we have to like make sure that we're living up to like or posting up to what they want or what they think that we're capable of. And it is kind of like not really um like a race or like a game to get all those followers, but like when we see other companies like that have more followers, we're like, oh well, maybe we can actually like we can do it. Like we can
That's
reach out
great.
to more people and we can get those more followers and get more people to talk to or that can help us or whatever it is.
I love that perspective. I mean, that's what I would hope. That'd be a great takeaway for anybody listening or watching is if you see that somebody else has done it, that means that you can do it too. It doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, there isn't enough to go around because now they have all the people. No, there's enough. And if they can, then so can you. It's just probably, and sometimes I've had people reach out to me and say, can you tell me how you've done X, Y, and Z because they've seen me do it. And sometimes I'll even jump on the phone or maybe I'll just like send them a quick message if they've reached out on LinkedIn. And I think that's a great way to approach somebody. Like you've done it. I want to do that. How did you get there? Versus like crap, like they got there and now like, I'm not going to be able to get there. And how did they, it's like, just I'm guessing. And I think Gary Vee would agree. It's just hustle. It's just hard work. It's consistency. I think consistency is like the big thing. So what would you say, and you can decide who wants to answer what. I'll give you 3 questions and then you can decide who wants to take the lead on them. One of the questions is, what would you say to the teen that's listening that is just nervous to start? That's just kind of like, ugh, I don't know. I don't know if I should start. And the next question would be, what do you say to the teen who's in a rut right now, who's just the teen entrepreneur who's like, this is just, I'm stuck. I'm hard. I don't know if I'm like feeling that my business right now. And I kind of need some motivation. And then the third question would be on what do you tell the teen entrepreneur who is trying to get press experience opportunities? They're trying to kind of get their name out there more. You've been able to do that. So maybe you have some tips for that. And then you can decide who wants to take those. Who wants to take the first one? The first one.
I will.
Okay.
I would just say like to not give up and to like keep going and make sure you keep pursuing your business if it's something you really love to do and to just like continue with it.
Okay, so you're saying just start, just get it going.
Yeah.
Okay. And who wants to answer the second question about if you're not really feeling it? You've started, but you're in a rut.
Yeah, I could take the second one. So kind of building off what Ashley said, I think it's definitely persistency. You kind of got to stick with it. But if you're really not feeling it, maybe just take a break or take a step back from what you're doing and really focus on where you are and where you want to be and see how you can take really small steps to get to that goal. Because instead of just seeing this huge goal that seems super hard to reach in the future, just make one tiny little goal that you can probably make in like the next day. And I think breaking it down is going to be the easiest way to sort of think about it and be able to get to that big goal in the end.
Yeah, it's like that idea, like what's the next best thing you can do or the next right thing that you can do versus how am I've got 100 followers, how am I going to get 10,000? What's the point? Why am I even doing it? It's like, okay, what's one thing you can do today to get to that goal? Okay. And that last question about that teen who's saying, wow, I'm so impressed. I've gone on their website and they've gotten this press and this exposure. How did you do that? What tips do you have?
So I would definitely say like follow a lot of the people that you want to talk to or you want to reach out, or just do reach out to them, like DM them or email them, whatever you're on. And for the most part, most adults are happy to help kid or teen entrepreneurs like get started, because a lot of those adults were kids that wanted to start a business but couldn't because they didn't have the resources or the platform to do it. And now they have a business and they're a big company or a small like company, whatever it is. And they're usually always happy to help or answer any questions about business and things.
So you're saying that if you want the press, if you want the mentorship, if you want the connection, just to go into their DMs and just send the message and just go
Definitely.
for it and see what happens.
Yeah, because when you reach out to that one person, they'll know 3 more people that you may be interested in talking to. And once you meet with them, they're going to know 3 more people each. And it just keeps on going, and you get more publicity, or somehow a magazine might find you and they'll want to interview you and learn more about your story because those mentors or those adults that you talked to reached out to that magazine and said, oh, they're a really cool company, like you should check them out. Like it's all about who you know and like getting out there. Like you're definitely not gonna get anywhere not just going for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if there's a teen entrepreneur listening that's thinking, oh, but I don't want to do that, then you have to think about, well, then do you want to keep just getting the same result that you have right now over and over again? If you want a different result, you've got to mix it up and try something different. And sometimes it's just having, I really believe in accountability buddies. We have that with our teens at WIT. I just think that there's people that just, when you say your goal out loud, or when you say something that you're going to do out loud, you probably already have kind of the system built in with being co-founders. Then there's someone that's saying to you, remember when you said last Friday that this Friday you were going to reach out to 10 people or 20 people? Have you done that yet? You usually don't want to say to somebody, no, I haven't done that. We will often let ourselves down and not keep our word to ourselves, which is a whole other podcast episode about how often we'll break our word to ourselves. But we won't usually do that with other people. And so if you're a teen entrepreneur who maybe is not in a teen entrepreneurship program, or maybe you don't have a co-founder, you find a buddy. They don't even have to be in an entrepreneur, but just say, can I tell you what my goals are every week? And then when I reach out to you on Fridays, will you kind of hold me accountable to doing that? I think that those things really help. I also believe it's important to treat yourself and celebrate your wins. Do you all do that? Do you make the time to celebrate when you have a success? And tell us what you do when you have those moments.
Well, I think we definitely are very happy about it, of course. And sometimes we'll do like a little celebration, and like just talk about it and be like, wow, we just got this really cool person on our platform. And I can't wait to see them grow as a business and see where they end up with our help, like how we're going to help them in the future.
Yeah, because I think it's just really, really important to those listening that you celebrate the small wins too, because you can't just think, oh, when I get, to this milestone, that's when I'll celebrate, because there's a lot of things that happen along the way that we sometimes forget to acknowledge. And sometimes I think we forget to look back and realize just how far we've come with our business. I mean, when you take a look back now a year ago and you see where you are, let's just go around one more time about like, what are you most proud of that you've accomplished in this year?
Probably like at like towards the beginning, or like through it a little after we launched it, like to see people reach out to us and wanting to know more about our business or wanting to interview us or go on our website and want like more details about it. It like felt really good to know that people are like noticing us and like see what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for me, kind of very similar to Ashley, but at the very beginning, I think we were really trying our best to reach out to as many people in this same community as possible. So we were reaching out, trying to interview them, see what they were doing. And I think the greatest reward now is that like people are reaching out to us, or asking us questions, and kind of having us being like almost like their mentor, like they're like where we were asking other people questions.
Oh.
Now they're coming to us for questions. It's kind of really nice to see.
Mm.
Yeah, and I would say like when we first started, and when we're trying to get more people, more recognition, and things like that. Like the next day when we would wake up and you'd see a notification from Snapchat,
Mhm.
it'd be like you got one follower, and like that was so exciting. Like to know that that one person has found us and likes our business or likes our idea, and it's still exciting today. Like waking up and feeling like, oh look, we have another follower. Like can't wait to reach like 1,000 or like whatever
Mhm.
our next goal is.
I totally relate to that because the podcast is a new endeavor for me. And I was so excited for us when we hit 100 followers, and now we're trying to do 100 subscribers on YouTube. And the thing was, like, I'm not stupid. I know I can go buy like 10,000 followers if I wanted to, and like have that number be on there. But what feels really special to me is that there are people that are finding this community and they're coming into it and they're engaging with it because they are the person that I want in this community. They are young entrepreneurs that are working hard and looking for more platforms to get the word out, but also looking for community with like-minded people. And I think that's what's really special. And to those listening, remember, like, I think right now WIT has, let's just say the Do It podcast Instagram has like 150 followers. I always think about 150 people in a room is a lot of people in a room. And when you have 150 people, young entrepreneurs in a room listening to you or coming to you for advice or wanting to share their experience with the other 150 in the room, that's a really special thing that I think we sometimes lose track of because we're looking for 100,000, 1 million followers, like all of that. But don't underestimate the power of having the right people in the room, like the virtual room of Instagram, because I feel like that's where it's at. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. It is like, of course you can buy followers, but like that doesn't really make you happy. Like, yeah, your platform might look better or, whatever it
Mhm.
is that you want those followers for. But like to know that a real person has found your account and
Mhm.
likes that idea and wants to follow up or learn more or things like that, it's just very exciting and like a happy feeling.
I totally agree. And I'm just I'm in such relativeness because in building this, I'm right there with you with that feeling of going on big, oh, who is it? And it's a new teen entrepreneur. And then I go look at their account and I get to see what they're doing. And I'm thinking, I wonder how they found us. So I'm experiencing that joy right along with any of the entrepreneurs out there that are feeling they're just getting started. Value the people that are showing up right now, and more people will show up. You don't want to discredit that person like, oh, you're just one person, because it's one person at a time that gets us maybe where we want to go. Okay, we're coming up to the end. Are there any final thoughts that you want to share with the listener, with the young entrepreneur, maybe something that you wish you knew when you got started? Go ahead.
I would definitely say pursue your idea, whether you're a teen or an adult. Doesn't matter. If you
Mm-hmm.
are really passionate about your idea or business that you want to start, go for it. Like, especially as a kid, like you don't have much to lose. And so now is the perfect time to just go for your idea. And it's an exciting process and it is hard work, but when you love what you're doing, it's fun and exciting to meet new people and learn new things.
Okay.
For me, I think my biggest word of advice is to stay curious. There's always going to be someone who's more knowledgeable than you. and you could always learn something no matter what. So stay curious, ask questions, and just keep learning.
That was gonna be mine.
I had a feeling because I saw you smiling when she said it, and I was like, I think she feels like she just stole her answer. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say just like ask questions and pretty much be curious,
Yeah.
learn more, and be like excited to learn more about things.
Well, I think that's a wonderful note to end on, that idea of staying curious. You're not meant to know it all. You're not supposed to know it all. You don't have to make up your numbers or lie about the impact of your business, which people feel tempted to do because they feel like they're just not enough. You are enough right now. Stay curious and lean into the things that feel hard and uncomfortable, and find the mentorships. You got a lot of tips here on what these young women have done with their business. And for those that want to learn more about what you're doing, or maybe even put their business on your platform, where can they find you?
So you can find us on Facebook or Instagram, kid.everest, or our email is hello@kideverest.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Website?
kideverest.com.
KidEverest.com. There you go, everybody. Check them out. It feels like a good spot if you're trying to raise money for your business. You've met the founders, you know where they stand, you know what they're about. And if their messaging and their vibe gels with you, then go give them a shot and check them out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And don't forget to keep doing whatever it takes to make the world a better place. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Do Wit podcast. If you got something valuable from this experience, which I hope you did, please feel free to share with your friends, comment wherever you're listening to this or watching this. And also, don't forget to follow along on Instagram at Do Wit Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at the Do Wit Podcast. And also, just remember, your ideas matter. You're never too young to make a difference. Just keep doing WIT.